Modern life feels busy. But does it actually feel smooth? Why do so many small daily moments still feel slightly inconvenient, slightly chaotic, slightly unfinished? Somewhere in the world, tiny design decisions quietly remove friction from ordinary life. No futuristic headlines, no dramatic inventions, just thoughtful systems that make everything flow better. By the end of this, you won't just notice these small changes. You'll start questioning what normal should feel like and why we've accepted less. Umbrella lockers at store entrances. Rain doesn't have to follow you indoors. In many countries, when it rains, you carry the inconvenience with you. Wet umbrellas drip across store floors. Plastic sleeves pile up near entrances. Slippery tiles become hazards. In Japan, many commercial buildings provide umbrella lockers near the entrance. You insert your umbrella into a narrow slot, lock it with a key tag, and retrieve it when leaving. No dripping, no carrying wet handles, no cluttered entryways. The system anticipates behavior instead of reacting to mess. Why does this exist? Because shared space cleanliness is culturally prioritized. Public floors are treated as collective responsibility. Preventing mess is easier than cleaning it. Contrast this with places where maintenance responds after damage occurs. Mops appear later. Warning signs are placed. Cleanup follows inconvenience. Japan removes inconvenience before it spreads. This matters because friction compounds. A wet floor slows traffic. A cluttered entrance disrupts flow. Small containment keeps public space calm. And calmness scales. But rain management is only one example of anticipating seasonal behavior. Consider what happens in winter, when warmth itself becomes portable. Heated beverage retail shelves. Cold weather doesn't mean cold drinks. In many countries, heated beverages sit uniformly on room temperature shelves. If you want something warm, you search for a cafe or microwave. In Japan during winter, some stores dedicate heated shelving units to bottled tea and coffee. Not reheated leftovers, temperature-controlled sections integrated into retail design. Grab, pay, go. It's seasonal adaptation built into infrastructure. Why does this matter? Because convenience is context-sensitive. Winter changes needs. Retail responds structurally. In other markets, seasonal demand is often handled through separate services. Coffee shops, kiosks, temporary promotions. Japan integrates it. This reflects something subtle. Attention to transitional discomfort. Small moments, stepping out of cold air into warmth, become smoother when design anticipates them. This isn't revolutionary technology, it's emotional ergonomics. And emotional ergonomics shape memory. But convenience isn't just about temperature. It's also about how space is used when space is limited. Fold flat reusable shopping baskets. Storage problems begin at home, not at checkout. In many cities globally, reusable shopping bags accumulate in piles. Plastic bins take space. Baskets are bulky. In Japan, some reusable baskets collapse flat after use. Hinged panels fold inward, transforming a rigid container into a slim rectangle that slides into tight storage spaces. Expand at the store. Collapse at home. Why does this matter? Because urban apartments are smaller. Hallway closets are narrower. Storage discipline isn't optional, it's necessary. Design mirrors living conditions. Contrast this with suburban environments where storage volume absorbs inefficiency. Bulkier tools don't create daily pressure. Japan designs for constraint. Constraint drives creativity. And when everyday objects respect spatial reality, stress decreases. But organization doesn't stop at home. It shows up in something even simpler, where you put your bag when you sit down. Under-table bag baskets in restaurants. Why should your bag sit on the floor? In many restaurants worldwide, personal belongings hang awkwardly from chairs or rest on the ground. In Japan, it's common for restaurants to provide small baskets beneath the table for bags and personal items. Clean, contained, expected. It signals respect for personal space and cleanliness simultaneously. Why does this exist? Because floor surfaces are culturally viewed as transitional spaces, not storage zones. Keeping belongings elevated preserves hygiene. Contrast this with casual dining environments where practicality outweighs order. Japan formalizes what others leave informal. It's not about luxury, it's about predictability. And predictability reduces micro-anxiety, the subtle discomfort of wondering where your belongings belong. But predictability shows up even in more sensitive interactions, like withdrawing cash. ATM privacy mirrors. Security doesn't always require confrontation. Some Japanese ATMs include angled mirrors or frosted visual panels that let users see behind them discreetly while entering their PIN. You don't turn around suspiciously. You glance naturally. The system protects without escalating tension. In many countries, ATM security relies on signage or surveillance cameras. Responsibility remains with the user to stay alert. Japan integrates subtle design cues. Why? Because public confrontation is socially discouraged. Preventing awkward interactions matters. So protection becomes invisible. And invisible systems are powerful because they reduce emotional friction. But emotional friction isn't only about security, it's about flow. And nowhere is flow more visible than on escalators. Escalator standing culture. Order doesn't require enforcement when it's cultural. In many Japanese cities, one side of the escalator is quietly reserved for standing while the other remains open for those who want to walk. There are no loudspeaker reminders repeating every 30 seconds. No security guards directing traffic. No confrontational signage. It's simply understood. Stand on one side, walk on the other. Contrast this with cities where escalator etiquette fluctuates daily. Some people stand in the center. Others try to squeeze past. Flow stalls. Small friction builds. What should be a smooth vertical transition becomes a bottleneck. Why does Japan maintain this norm so consistently? Because spatial awareness is socially reinforced from an early age. Children are taught how to move in groups, how to queue, how to avoid obstructing others. Collective efficiency is valued over personal convenience. The result isn't dramatic, it's fluid. Transit feels smoother, commutes feel lighter, movement becomes predictable. And predictability reduces stress in dense environments where thousands share the same infrastructure daily. In countries where individual expression often overrides collective coordination, norms are looser. Escalators become micro-negotiations instead of systems. Japan removes negotiation. It builds behavioral expectations into everyday life. And once you experience consistent flow, inconsistency feels louder than it should. But this principle of linear movement doesn't stop at transit. It appears in something even more ordinary. The way groceries are handled at checkout. Separate bagging counters in grocery stores. Checkout speed and bagging speed don't have to compete. In many countries, the checkout counter is a multitasking zone. The cashier scans items while the customer scrambles to bag them quickly. The next person waits, watching the rhythm slow. If bagging takes longer than scanning, tension rises. The system overlaps two tasks in one space. In Japan, many grocery stores separate these functions. Payment happens at the register. Immediately after, customers move to a designated bagging counter nearby to organize their purchases at their own pace. The checkout line continues flowing. No pressure, no rushed packing, no subtle impatience from those behind you. It's a simple spatial adjustment, but it transforms the experience. Why does this exist? Because Japan often designs for sequential efficiency rather than simultaneous chaos. Linear systems replace overlapping ones. Contrast this with environments where speed is equated with compression, squeezing more activity into one space. That compression creates friction. Japan chooses flow. Flow respects time, both yours and the person behind you. It's not about moving faster, it's about removing bottlenecks. And once you see how physical layout shapes emotional experience, you start noticing design philosophy in even smaller objects. Like something as ordinary as a tissue box. Modular tissue refills. Why throw away the box every time? In many markets, tissues are sold in decorative cardboard boxes. When the tissues run out, the entire box is discarded. The cycle repeats. It feels normal. In Japan, tissues are often sold as compressed refill packs designed to slide into reusable holders. The outer container remains. Only the inner stack is replaced. Less cardboard. Less storage bulk. Less repeated waste. The design is subtle, but the philosophy is strong. Why does this approach exist? Because space and environmental awareness intersect in daily life. Apartments are smaller, storage areas are limited. Reducing bulk isn't just eco-friendly, it's practical. In some markets, branding and shelf presence dominate packaging decisions. The external box is part of the product's identity. Japan often separates identity from utility. The container is reusable. The content is modular. This shifts consumption psychology. Instead of discarding structure each time, you maintain it. Reuse becomes routine rather than exceptional, and routine shapes mindset. When small habits reinforce material responsibility, awareness becomes automatic. It's not about dramatic sustainability campaigns. It's about integrating the efficiency into everyday repetition. And once you begin noticing these quiet optimizations, you realize something deeper. Even sound, movement, and silence are treated as design elements. Nothing is entirely accidental. And that may be the most revealing difference of all. Soft close public doors. Noise pollution is invisible until it disappears. In many cities around the world, door slams are background noise. Office entrances snap shut. Restroom doors echo. Apartment building exits bang against metal frames. It's not dramatic enough to complain about, but it's constant. In Japan, many public doors are fitted with hydraulic soft close systems that slow the final inches of movement. The door doesn't crash into its frame. It settles. No sudden slams, no sharp echoes, no repeated acoustic jolts in shared spaces. It seems minor, until you spend a day in a dense urban environment where thousands of people pass through the same entry points. In that context, sound multiplies. Repetition amplifies irritation. Japan engineers silence deliberately. Why? Because population density forces attention to sensory comfort. When millions live close together, small noises become collective burdens. So systems absorb impact instead of broadcasting it. Contrast this with places where space dilutes consequence. In larger buildings or suburban environments, a door slam dissipates quickly. The incentive to refine it is weaker. In Japan, courtesy isn't left to individual awareness. It's built into hinges. Silence becomes infrastructure. And when infrastructure reduces unnecessary sensory strain, stress levels drop, even if you don't consciously notice why. This reveals something deeper. Many irritations are environmental, not personal. Remove them, and behavior improves naturally. But doors are objects. The final example shifts focus from hardware to human behavior itself, and what happens when culture, not mechanics, carries the responsibility. Quiet delivery culture. What if convenience didn't announce itself? In many parts of the world, delivery culture is built around confirmation. Drivers knock loudly. Doorbells ring repeatedly. Packages are dropped with audible impact. Urgency is emphasized. In some Japanese neighborhoods, the approach is different. Delivery drivers often ring once or use a soft intercom signal. If no one answers, they leave a discreet notice or place the package carefully in a designated area. There's no pounding on doors, no shouting names, no dramatic insistence. The assumption isn't urgency, it's consideration. Why? Because shared living spaces are common. Thin apartment walls, close neighbors, shift workers sleeping during the day. Quiet is treated as a shared asset. Contrast this with markets where speed and proof of delivery dominate. Efficiency is measured by confirmation, not subtlety. Noise becomes a byproduct of accountability. Japan prioritizes minimal disruption. The system trusts that one notification is sufficient. That social norms will handle the rest. This isn't just about manners, it's about how a society defines convenience. In many places, convenience means faster service for the individual. In Japan, convenience often means smoother coexistence. You gain your package, but others don't lose their peace. And that reframes the entire conversation. Because maybe true modernity isn't about louder efficiency. Maybe it's about quieter impact. At the beginning, I asked whether modern life feels smooth or just busy. These examples aren't dramatic inventions. They're subtle adjustments that reduce friction quietly. And that's the real lesson. Modern doesn't always mean bigger screens or faster networks. Sometimes it means fewer small irritations. So here's the question. If these changes feel obvious once you see them, why haven't we adopted them? That's where the conversation begins.